Contract talks between teachers and the province break down.
I think what we have on the table is very generous.
Fair wage is not just about money. It's about showing respect.
Now the province has voted to lock teachers out. So what's next? Plus the war of words.
We are trying to take sexually explicit content out of elementary schools.
But an Alberta school board may yank 200 books in an effort to follow the province's rules. And he was drafted by Edmonton originally. Now he plays for the Stamps.
Like you said, his attitude, he's got a great attitude.
Seeing it from both sides as we head into the Labor Day Classic.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. We are just days away from most of Alberta's students getting back into the classroom. But a possible teachers' strike is looming over a return to the books. Negotiations between the province and the Teachers Association have fallen apart, and both sides are pointing the fingers at each other as the school year hangs in the balance. Jordan Canigan reports.
Summer beach days are numbered with another school year set to start.
I am super excited, especially because my little one is starting grade 6 in junior high.
But as hundreds of thousands of kindergarten to grade 12 students are ready to return next week, talks between the province and the Alberta Teachers Association have broken off.
But we cannot and will not play politics with our kids. Our government is ready to hire thousands more teachers, invest hundreds of millions into the classroom, and increase teacher pay.
The province says it's offering a 12% wage increase over 4 years, something teachers already voted against in June. New this round, the government also proposing hiring 3,000 teachers over the next 3 years.
The workload has increased. The expectations have grown. Class sizes continue to soar, and the pay has barely moved.
Alberta's 51,000 teachers are in a position to issue a 72-hour strike notice at any time.
I think parents should be challenging the government about why are they undervaluing public education and the people who work with them.
Alberta's finance minister pointing to the province's projected $6.5 billion deficit and says he doesn't see the province's offer changing.
We expect and hope that the ATA comes back to the table and we can reach a negotiated settlement. I don't want to speculate about what may happen in the future. We have tools at our disposal, so do they.
Caught in the middle of the education showdown, students and parents who don't know when or if a strike or lockout will happen.
The teachers deserve what they're asking for. There's an increase in population in the city. We need more teachers.
I'm not so sure, but yeah, I think it's okay. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And Jordan joins us now with more. So Jordan, what happens next?
Well, Tara, a lot of unknowns. We heard the minister allude to both sides having tools at their disposal, and CTV News has learned that the provincial negotiating team has voted in favor of the right to lock out teachers if it gets to that point. And teachers, of course, can issue a strike notice as well. We don't know exactly how far the gap is between both sides, but there are no planned talks at this point. Both sides, though, admitting that they are willing to get back to the table to resume those talks and say things can change very quickly. Now, the ATA has until October 7th to issue any type of job action. If they choose to do that, it would be a 72-hour strike notice. For now, though, the teachers union and school boards say the plan is for school to start next week as expected. Tara?
Okay, Jordan, thank you. Alberta's new order to purge school libraries of sexually explicit content is creating a wave of controversy. It comes after Edmonton Public Schools announced more than 200 titles, many of them literary classics, are on a list for removal. Mark Villani has reaction to the government directive and why some educators and prominent authors are pushing back.
Alberta's government is cracking down on what kids can or can't read at their school library this fall.
We are trying to take sexually explicit content out of elementary schools that is inappropriate for me to show on the television news at night, and so it is inappropriate for 7-year-olds.
A new ministerial order is focused on steering kindergarten to grade 12 kids away from what the UCP government considers inappropriate texts. That's prompted Edmonton Public Schools to create lists consisting of more than 200 books to remove. They feature world-renowned authors like Aldous Huxley, Margaret Atwood, even Judy Bloom. The texts were narrowed into 3 categories. It includes materials with explicit content like Alice Walker's The Color Purple, books with non-explicit sexual content like 1984, along with non-sexual content, including teen favorites like The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins.
Edmonton Public is clearly doing a little vicious compliance.
Edmonton Public Schools chair says several excellent books will be removed from our shelves this fall. We encourage anyone who has a concern about a book being removed to contact the Minister of Education directly.
The real fundamental problem here is that decisions about what should end up on school library shelves needs to be left to trained educators and trained librarians.
And already authors are speaking their mind. Atwood posting sarcastically to social media for kids not to read Handmaid's Tale or else their hair will catch fire. American author Jodi Picoult, a frequent censorship target in her home country, also took issue, telling CTV book bans do not protect children, but instead remove tools to help them navigate an increasingly difficult world. Both Calgary's public and Catholic school districts confirm they will comply with the province's directive, but haven't come up with lists. Alberta's premier insists there's no provincial book ban. Her education minister says he wants to talk to the school boards about their selections.
I'm really curious to know what the province's process is going to be.
Academics say the censorship of certain texts take away the freedom for children to open their mind to new ideas.
When we see this kind of confusion resulting, I'm not surprised, but I'm certainly dismayed, and I'm deeply concerned for access to literature.
Mark is outside McDougall Centre tonight. So, Mark, how is the province planning to address which books stay and which ones go ahead of this coming school year?
Well, Tara, Dimitrios Nicolaides, Alberta's education minister, says that he's set a October 1st deadline for this policy to go into effect. He will be talking with Edmonton Public School Board as well as other school boards across the province to make sure that there's full clarification on how this policy works. Now, meanwhile, Premier Danielle Smith saying that Edmonton Public Schools has been overreaching here, saying that some of the books listed on their removal list, like Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, for example, should be, quote, mandatory reading for high school students. Smith added that clearly there's confusion, but if her government needs to hold the hands of school boards to provide all of this clarification on how this policy works, she says she's willing to do so. Tara.
Okay, Mark Villani reporting. Mark, thank you. We have breaking news in the southeast tonight. Paramedics have rushed 2 people to hospital with serious injuries from an electrical shock. About an hour ago, Calgary EMS say they were called to the 7400 block of 24th Street Southeast. That's where they found 2 adults badly injured. EMS say a ladder made contact with an overhead power line. Both patients were taken to the Foothills Hospital, one in serious condition, the other adult in serious, potentially life-threatening injuries. NMAX has dispatched crew to the scene. Calgary police are also attending. Calgary's police chief is praising the coordinated effort of her officers and responding agencies in Thursday's active shooter incident that ended with no innocent bystanders being hurt. This time yesterday, police were tracking a wanted suspect who opened fire on a home in Rosedale with residents inside. He went to another house and opened fire on police officers. He was with a woman and they refused to give themselves up. Residents in Rosedale and Crescent Heights were warned to shelter in place. Roads were shut down and first responders were also on standby. The woman eventually surrendered to police and was taken into custody. Canada-wide warrants were out for the suspect, who was on the run for weeks and cut off his ankle monitor. He was found dead inside the home. Alberta's police watchdog has been notified. A man is charged after 3 people were stabbed at the Calgary Stampede last month. It happened July 8th near the Euro slide on the Midway. 1 victim was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. 2 others were found off the Stampede grounds. 18-year-old Irfan Mohammadi is charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault. That day, there were more than 190,000 people at Stampede Park, and police had called in extra officers to deal with a large crowd for a free concert put on by hip-hop star Don Toliver.
And we will be looking at that for next year as well. We'll be evaluating along with Stampede what the concerts are and how many officers we should deploy. And it does fluctuate depending on what act is on stage.
Mohammadi is in custody and appears in court on Tuesday. A van burst into flames on the Trans-Canada Highway near Cochrane last night. RCMP tell us the driver managed to pull over onto the shoulder and everyone got out safely before it caught fire. The heavy smoke and flames forced drivers to slow down. The highway was fully reopened a couple of hours later. Two friends have now been identified by loved ones on social media as the victims of a drowning incident at Mahogany Lake earlier this week. Police say the two 20-year-old men were swimming in the lake when they went underwater and never resurfaced. They're described as caring souls and leaders within their church community. Tyson Fedor reports.
What was supposed to be a day on the water beating the heat ended in tragedy. Two young men drowned at Mahogany Lake on Wednesday. Now family and friends are flooding social media with tributes.
It's an unimaginable loss, and it's very painful time for our church family and most importantly for the families that have lost these incredible young men.
20-year-old Kalen Escalante and Yagazi Ike Peters have been identified as the two people who died. Both men were part of First Assembly Church. Their bodies were recovered from the lake by a dive team. The church says it cannot express the heartache of their loss to the community.
The grief that the families are dealing with right now, we're praying for them. We just love these young men so much, and we love their families. We're heartbroken.
A crowdfunding campaign described Escalante as someone who was passionate about music, worship, leading and caring for youth through camps. And these are just the latest deaths in a series this month. The Life Saving Society of Alberta says this year there have been a total of 20 drowning incidents in Alberta, nearly half this month alone.
You are going through an incident like that, your body's first priority is to get air. So a lot of times drowning is actually really silent, and it can happen in seconds. So that's why the Life Saving Society really prioritizes these preventative measures, because it's a lot easier to be preventative about drowning than to resolve it during or after.
And with a wet summer, the recent heat wave has seen more people head to the water, but it comes with a warning ahead of the long weekend.
Wearing a life jacket is super important. Like I said, it works just like a seatbelt or even a bicycle helmet. You have to wear one, especially if you're on a boat, even if you're a really strong swimmer.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
The province is launching the Alberta Wallet, a way to carry your province-issued documents on your phone. It's an app, and it is live as of today. The first document you can add to the wallet is a mobile health card. The province says your wallet's privacy will be secured through strong encryptions. The app will replace paper copies of your healthcare card, but those who prefer the old cards will still be able to use them. We have more information on how the wallet works on our website, ctvnews.ca/Calgary. A lot of people are heading out of town on the last long weekend of summer. There's a steady stream of motorhomes and campers and cars headed to the mountain parks tonight. The RCMP is warning drivers to be safe on the roads and on our rivers and lakes. Last Labor Day long weekend, Alberta Mounties issued 990 speeding tickets, and they charged more than 90 impaired drivers. Well, a hot and sunny weekend is ahead no matter where you'll be. Danielle joins us now with the details.
Yes, Tara, yes. Safe on the roads, safe by the water, safe in the heat. Drink lots of water because this is a hot Labor Day weekend. This is absolutely summer all the way through. We have a little bit of instability possible for the next couple of hours in the city. 27 degrees, and if you look at this live shot right there, well, yes, it's blue sky, but you can also see what's tracking towards us. Now, most of this activity will die out before it gets to the city of Calgary, but we do have a small chance of seeing an isolated shower or a non-severe thunderstorm in the city within this next hour or so, and then that chance is gone. Quiet overnight, quiet and bright for the morning hours, and then by 4 in the afternoon tomorrow we get into the risk of a thunderstorm once again. A high of 28 expected. Your full long weekend forecast is coming up, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. Still to come, Ottawa's one-stop shop for businesses to pitch big plans will be headquartered in Calgary. It will also be managed by former Trans Mountain CEO Don Farrell. We'll have the Premier's reaction to the big announcement. And Canadian businesses say they will be hit hard by Donald Trump's latest cancellation of a duty exemption. That's next. Europe's most active volcano is at it again. Mount Etna's latest eruption offered a dramatic view of the Italian island of Sicily today. Drone footage captured the streams of glowing lava oozing down the slopes. The eruption forced officials to close off sections of the landmark. The federal government announced Calgary will be home to its new Major Projects Office. The Prime Minister says the MPO will be headquartered in Calgary with offices in other major Canadian cities. It will focus on getting major projects built faster and attracting domestic and global funding. Trans Mountain Board Chair and former TransAlta CEO Don Farrell will be Chief Executive Officer.
And I count her as an advisor. So I'm very, very pleased that the Prime Minister and I have something in common. He's going to count her as an advisor as well. And I think it is important that they've then made the decision to headquarter it in Calgary.
The federal government says it will announce the first set of nation-building projects in the coming weeks. A U.S. appeals court ruled today that most of Donald Trump's tariffs are illegal, undercutting the president's use of the levies as a key international economic policy tool. The court ruled Trump exceeded his authority by using emergency powers to impose sweeping tariffs. The ruling upheld a lower court's decision saying the president's tariffs on virtually all countries are illegal, but they'll be allowed to remain in place pending an expected appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. A near century-long duty exemption used by small businesses in Canada and around the world to ship low-cost items to the U.S. has ended today. The Trump administration has officially dropped what was known as the de minimis exemption, leaving businesses to deal with the consequences. Here's Jeremy Sharon.
In small businesses across the country, there is an unfortunate new reality.
I know that I'm going to see a decline in sales to the States.
Cal Green's Ottawa-based streetwear brand Raised by Wolves is no exception.
So we've produced the apparel, they've done the shoes, and then
at least a quarter of his business comes through direct sale to American consumers or wholesalers. His product no longer exempt from duties when shipped south of the border, forcing him to make a difficult decision.
The duties, the tariffs, the brokerage fees, and the shipping is going to be included in the price for U.S. customers to be transparent. That's really all I can do at this point. As a small business, I can't afford to eat those costs.
Some of his products could still be exempt if he can prove they're CUSMA compliant, but like for thousands of other businesses, that will require more time and effort, which experts say won't always make sense.
If they want to go into the process of making sure that their goods are CUSMA compliant, that may not be worth the cost for many businesses.
It's a huge nightmare. Has been a really, really steep learning curve.
Last year, almost 1.4 billion packages entered America duty-free. Now, the new fees will vary based on a variety of factors, including the country of origin. But some businesses say they'll avoid it altogether.
To avoid confusion and conflicts with customers, I just suspended U.S. shipping for now.
Others hopeful to keep at least some of their longtime American customers.
I don't think there's so much anyone can do about it at this point, so I just want to keep moving forward and do the best I can.
At least 25 countries have opted to suspend U.S. shipping, citing a lack of clarity around enforcement. Canada Post says it'll work with a third party to collect and send the duties directly to U.S. Customs. Jeremy Sharon, CTV News, Ottawa.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
All right, let's bring Danielle back in now and get a closer look at this terrific long weekend forecast.
Right, get outside, enjoy this. I mean, it's going to be a hot one for this Labor Day long weekend. We're certainly wrapping up this summer with a big burst of heat here. So 27 degrees is the temperature in Calgary right now. We had a significant cool down in many communities in the far south for today. Look at Milk River, just 18 degrees. Earlier this week, well into the 30s. Medicine Hat, same type of idea. We will bounce back. So Lethbridge over to Medicine Hat, Milk River will be close to that 30 mark for tomorrow. And for Calgary, we can tack on another couple degrees to really look at what we're feeling for tomorrow. So temperatures will start to climb. There's still the heat warning placed for the standard areas it's been in place for. Calgary down through Lowman, Brooks over to Hanna. And while other communities are not under this heat warning, basically everywhere will be hot for long weekend in southern Alberta. We have a little bit of activity going on. It's because of the system where the core of it is off in Saskatchewan, but is pushing air up the mountains and creating a little bit of instability throughout parts of the province here. So you can see what's tracking towards the south here. I'm going to zoom in just so you can get an idea. And some of these pockets will maybe arrive in Calgary. I mean, it's a smaller chance. Much of it is dying out before it gets here. But throughout this next hour and a half, there is the possibility of an isolated shower or an non-severe thunderstorm, especially in the north end. Coronation is getting into that as well, as you can see here, and it may track as far south as Hannah. All right, looking at that futurecast. This is a look at tomorrow morning. All sunshine, and then later in the day, Rocky Mountain House down to Calgary. That's where we have a line of thunderstorms that will likely develop. And some of these could actually get a little intense. Hail may be associated with some of these, and we could catch some of this in Calgary as well, because we'll have the heat, we'll have the instability, so we could get a decent day out of it, absolutely. This is looking to start at around 4 o'clock. That's when we get into our risk here. If not thunderstorms, isolated showers possible, and most likely south of Calgary. As you can see, those little pockets here and there down to Lethbridge, there is that possibility of isolated showers. It will be brief, it will be short-lived. High pressure builds in for Sunday, so by Sunday it's nothing but sun, as you can see here, and the temperatures will climb. Okay, 28 degrees for the city of Calgary tomorrow. Again, the risk of thunderstorms arrives by 4 in the afternoon. 29 for Sunday and for Labor Day Monday, with quiet, calm, mainly sunny weather. And for the first day back to school for a lot of kiddies on Tuesday, 24 degrees for the daytime high. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast.
Thank you, Danielle. The Veterans Association Food Bank says support for its Playhouse raffle is slumping, and it is making a last-minute sales pitch. Veteran Wayne Lapointe hand-built 2 playhouses, one for boys, one for girls. They are no ordinary playhouses, though. The structures are fully insulated, fully powered, and include toy boxes and table and chair sets. Funds raised support veterans and their families through the food bank's programs. For Lapointe, the playhouses are a labor of love, and it's all part of the work that he does to keep the food bank going.
This turned into more of a love than a job. It's just, it makes you feel good inside.
The roofs are made to last. They're basically, you could probably pass them down like generations. They're built to last, like veterans.
The raffle tickets are available on the websites that you see there on your screen, or in person at the food bank office on 28th Street Northeast. The deadline is this Sunday at noon. The food bank also says donations are down 80% compared to last year. Canada's GDP declined in Q2 just as the U.S. ramped up tariffs. We'll take a look at some of the sectors being hardest hit by this contraction. And here's something probably only an Olympian could manage: hiking the West Coast Trail with mismatched shoes. That accidental escapade is still to come. A jewelry store in Ontario has installed a security system that shoots smoke to slow down thieves. At the push of a button, a non-toxic fog comes down into the store, reducing visibility. The system was installed after a smash-and-grab robbery at the store. Some troubling economic news for Calgary. New numbers show a key measure of the country's economic health isn't looking as healthy as economists had hoped. CTV's Kamal Karamali has been crunching the numbers and gives us a glimpse on what's behind the blow to Canada's GDP.
After months of being assaulted by U.S. tariffs and battered by the ongoing trade war, Canada now showing major cracks in the armor.
This is not a good picture for Canada and what's happening here.
Canada's economy contracted in the second quarter, much more than expected, shrinking by 1.6% on an annualized basis. It's the first quarterly contraction in nearly 2 years and the steepest decline since the pandemic.
Essentially, the big change was in the first quarter, we had a rush to get exports out into the U.S. as quickly as possible. In the second quarter, that all came to a halt as some of these tariffs started to take effect.
U.S. President Donald Trump ramped up tariffs against Canada and the world that quarter, targeting steel, aluminum, and autos. While April, May, and June then saw a sharp drop-off in business investment by roughly 10%.
The depth of decline that we're seeing in the manufacturing sector is something that we haven't seen in many years. And so it is a cause for concern.
Vehicle exports plummeting nearly 25%, industrial machinery exports and travel services also falling drastically. In fact, Canada saw an unprecedented trade deficit in the second quarter, with a big gap between its minimal exports versus its massive amount of imports. The difference between the two, a whopping $19.6 billion in goods and services.
Well, guess what's happening in the middle of a trade war with the U.S.? We're exporting substantially less
stuff to our major trade partner.
All of it raising fears of a recession, which economists say Canada would be in if the GDP sees another decline in the third quarter of this year.
We need to be a little bit more cautious, and that caution, of course, feeds into the economy.
The latest GDP figures putting a sharper focus on the Bank of Canada and whether it'll make an interest rate cut in mid-September. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Organizers of Alberta's pro-Canada petition group say they are optimistic they will collect enough signatures in time. The Forever Canadian group doesn't have a total yet for how many signatures have been gathered so far, but organizers point out their website has 550,000 views and there are 4,000 registered signature collectors. The group needs to have nearly 300,000 signatures by October 28th. The effort is being spearheaded by former Deputy Premier Thomas Lukaszuk.
We have federal conservatives, we have federal liberals, we have NDPers, everybody sitting at the same table strategizing and building this campaign, which I have to tell you, as a former politician, it's unprecedented. You never see this happen. So yes, it has become a movement. People are extremely passionate about being part of this movement, and we're building on it. But our goal still remains collecting 300,000 signatures, and that's it.
Lukaszuk says the group is working on a process to gather the petitions every couple of weeks. That will allow them to keep a running tally of how many signatures have been collected. Still to come, drilling down on a tooth study. New research from U of C scientists shows humans changed their diets long before their teeth could actually keep up. We'll explain. Canadian Olympian Clara Hughes is back in the headlines after losing one shoe on the West Coast Trail and then completing the hike in a ripped-up Croc. In a post on social media, Hughes explained she was holding her trail runners while walking barefoot on a section of beach when she slipped and then lost one shoe to the ocean. Luckily, someone witnessed the whole thing and knew just how to help.
There was a fellow that was watching kind of the latter part of our little misadventure, and he asked me what happened, and I told him I lost my shoe. And this guy's name was Steve, and Steve became my hero of the trail, along with his 15-year-old son, Marley. Steve basically went into action and found shoes for me, and they happened to be from his son, from this 15-year-old boy who had an old beat-up pair of Crocs.
Thanks to that family, Hughes was able to hike the remaining 53 kilometers of the trail wearing one trail runner and one Croc.
Clara's awesome.
She's so amazing. I mean,
great.
I think you have to probably be an Olympian to do
Make that happen.
Yeah, the West Coast Trail is hard.
If that isn't a good advertisement for Croc shoes, I don't know what is.
They'll take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, passengers on a whale watching tour in California got a very special treat. This is incredible. A stampede of more than 100 dolphins was spotted racing alongside their whale-watching vessel. This is just off the coastline of Newport Beach. Some of the dolphins launched themselves more than 10 feet into the air. Wow. The passengers say they, of course, were thrilled by this display.
They got together beforehand and said, let's put on a show.
Exactly.
Come on.
Forget the whales. We're taking over this tour.
That is so cool.
That is so cool. Well, CTV Morning Live shows across the country often ask for dog photos for their dog walking forecast, but we don't often get to see the reaction.
Good evening.
This is Doug, an adorable sheepadoodle in Kamoka, Ontario, who jumps up and barks when he sees himself on CTV London. His owner submitted the photo, and he does seem to know that that's him on TV.
Doug's very proud.
Yeah.
Look at me. Everyone, look at me.
Guys, I look good. I look good here.
Smart dog.
Well, he's not bending it quite like Beckham yet, but just give this pint-sized player a little time. Whoa, look at that wind-up. He's practically a pro already. He's only 1.5. This is Ace. Just watch. He's so strong. He loves to play football with his dad. He's got the kicking, the running, the carrying ball down pat.
So happy.
Yes.
So good. But
Thrilled
also
to be
the
out there.
ball is up to his waist.
I know.
So that's impressive.
Yeah, some kids are born coordinated.
Yeah.
That kid is coordinated. I mean,
you're right.
1.5.
You're right.
Holy mackerel.
That's pretty impressive. We'll talk about a powerhouse duo, a dream come true for a Canadian star who teams up with one of the greatest of all time. Stay with us for that.
All right, Skywatch weather camera. The sun is out, couple clouds. It's certainly hot. It's a beautiful way to end the summer for a lot of the kids because they start next week and it's going to be hot the entire long weekend. We have a little bit of instability to talk about. That's certainly possible. Some weak thunderstorm activity happening right now in some areas, and then maybe a little stronger later in the day tomorrow. 27 degrees is the daytime high in Calgary. Also, the current temperature at the moment, 27 in Brooks, and a little cooler in that southeast corner. Medicine had at 23, Lethbridge at 22, but it will be much hotter tomorrow, and I'll show you that in just a second. Core of the system off into Saskatchewan. Some instability though behind this, and this is why we're getting some cells, non-severe cells that are tracking down the QE2. Again, a lot of this dying out before it gets anywhere near Calgary, but Calgary, we have just a small chance of seeing any of this activity up until about 8 o'clock, from now until 8. But you can see it's in Carstairs, around Olds, and then also this what's in Coronation now may track as far south as Hannah. Again, it's non-severe and mainly just some isolated showers. Okay, your next 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed Rider, it's free. Again, that small chance of any sort of thunderstorm or shower activity in Calgary. Sunshine tomorrow, and by 4 in the afternoon tomorrow, there is the risk of thunderstorm activity. And some of these cells in southern Alberta could actually produce some hail tomorrow because it will be way more unstable. Kamloops, 34 degrees for tomorrow. Edmonton, 31. You can see things are starting to heat up. Drumheller, 29. And Medicine Hat, 28. Lethbridge will just get over 30. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. The provincial government and Alberta teachers are at an impasse. Contract talks have broken down with both sides pointing fingers at each other. Students, parents and staff are bracing for a possible strike or lockout. Edmonton's Public School Board is the first to release a list of more than 200 books that it will remove from libraries. But Premier Smith says the list goes too far. She just wants books with sexually explicit content removed. And loved ones have identified the young men who drowned in Mahogany Lake 2 days ago. Kaylin Escalante and Yagazi Ike Peters died while swimming. A University of Calgary scientist is part of a team that made a groundbreaking discovery in the history of early humans and their teeth. Their fossil research found that people started eating different foods before their teeth were ideally suited for them. They switched from fruits and flowers and insects to grasses and tubers. It took hundreds of thousands of years for evolution to catch up by giving us long molars to actually chew tough plant fibers effectively.
Our ancestors, and we're talking deep time here, a couple million years ago, they had switched to eating certain kinds of food well before their skulls and teeth actually reflected it by a difference of about 700,000 years. And this shows that our ancestors were being really flexible in a changing environment, and that's partially what led us to us sitting here today.
Wow, the anthropologist's work has been published in the journal Science. The Canadian economy has taken a hit amid the onslaught of tariffs coming from the U.S. Some analysts say the U.S. trade war has now pushed Canada much closer to a recession. BNN Bloomberg's Lindsay Biscaya reports.
Statistics Canada says the Canadian economy contracted 1.6% in the second quarter of this year. It's the worst decline for the country since the COVID-19 pandemic, primarily due to U.S. tariffs, which slashed exports by 7.5%. Exports in key sectors like energy and automotive dropped significantly, widening the trade deficit. And the former Trans Mountain CEO Don Farrell has now been named CEO of the Liberal government's major projects office. Prime Minister Mark Carney made that announcement today. Farrell is currently chair of the board of directors for the Trans Mountain Corporation. Laurentian Bank shares have fallen sharply today after reporting mixed results in its latest quarter. The bank reported a $37.5 million profit, which beat estimates, but the lender also saw revenue decline compared to the year before. And taking a look at how the trading day ended today, the Canadian dollar is up 11 cents to 72.82 cents U.S. West Texas Intermediate is down almost $1 to 64.01. Western Canadian Select is up 48 cents to 51.66. And the TSX jumped 129 points today to 28,564. Those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
U.S. President Donald Trump has revoked the security detail of former Vice President Kamala Harris. Under normal circumstances, Harris's security detail would have come to an end last month as vice presidents received protection for 6 months after leaving office. However, former President Joe Biden extended her detail for an extra year shortly before he left office earlier. Trump's directive comes as Harris is set to embark on a book tour. Edmonton's Public School Board is acting on new legislation about girls in sports. Starting September 1st, only biologically female athletes can compete in female-only divisions. The EPSB says it will be sending a confirmation letter home for parents or guardians to sign. There is no eligibility requirement for students wanting to participate in intramural events. There's a new dynamic duo taking the tennis world by storm. American Venus Williams and Canadian Leylah Fernandez have been putting on quite a display of cross-border cooperation on the court. Jack Richardson reports.
An unlikely win for an unlikely duo. 22-year-old Leylah Fernandez and 45-year-old Venus Williams are moving on to round 2 at the U.S. Open after a comeback win.
I feel like we had the same approach in terms of how we looked at the match.
For Fernandez, a Montreal native, getting the call to team up with one of her idols was a dream come true.
I was like a kid on Christmas Day, just jumping around. I was so happy.
Williams has won 49 singles titles on the WTA Tour. But more notably in doubles, she's won 14 Grand Slam titles alongside her sister, Serena.
I'm used to being the big sister.
Fresh off another first-round victory at a Grand Slam, Williams said Fernandez reminds her of Serena.
Our energy really matched each other in terms of determination, in terms of not giving up. That felt amazing, as I never really played with a partner outside of Serena, obviously, who had that kind of mentality.
It was like probably the biggest compliment I ever got. So thank you, Venus. I mean, oh man, I feel like those are big shoes to fill.
The rest of the tennis world noticed it too.
I saw from a young age how she was determined. She had that fire in her eyes and super focused, super dynamic, how quick she was on the tennis court. I think it's a great doubles pair. It's exciting.
It's also an opportunity for Fernandez to gain some new fans while she shares the court with an American tennis icon at the U.S. Open.
To see her on the court with one of my idols and one of obviously one of her idols, and then having success and playing so well it was amazing to watch.
I'm just glad that we got the chance to play together and move on to the next round.
Fernandez has a singles match Friday night and will team up with Williams again for round 2 on Saturday. Jack Richardson, CTV News.
The Labor Day Classic is on Monday. This year's Stamps team features one player who used to be on the other side of the grudge match. Glenn has a preview for us next. Today is the one-year anniversary of the deaths of NHL star Johnny Gaudreau and his younger brother Matthew. They died when they were struck by an alleged drunk driver. It was the night before they were to serve as groomsmen in their sister's wedding. Johnny played his first 8 NHL seasons with the Calgary Flames and was getting ready for a 3rd season with the Columbus Blue Jackets. The driver has been charged with 2 counts of death by auto. Well, it is the Battle of Alberta Monday at McMahon Stadium. Glenn is back with us. And Glenn, this is shaping up to be kind of an awesome Labor Day Classic.
Tara, the Stamps and the Elks coming into this game on winning streaks. For one Stampeder, he'll get a look at how the other side lives in this epic battle.
They're showing blitz. Harris pulls it down, has a receiver, but it's picked off.
Stampeder's defensive back Godfrey Onyeka waited a long time for his first CFL interception. The 31-year-old was drafted by Edmonton in the 2nd round, 10th overall of the 2018 CFL draft. His first pick didn't come until last weekend when he finally got one against another one of his former teams, the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
7 years, first pick, it's pretty cool. And I was talking to one of my old coaches from the Riders. He's still there. And he was like, "You're a better man than me. If I was you, I'd have ran all the way to the other sideline and got in their face."
Onyeka was so excited, he threw the ball up in the air and didn't think to get it back to put it on his mantelpiece. He says he didn't think it would take this long, but it was well worth the wait.
Definitely not. I was pretty good in college here, well, at Laurier. And, like, I was a high pick. Like, you know what I mean? I always thought it would come a lot sooner, but it's been injuries, like circumstances that I couldn't control, and it's just, I don't know. It honestly made it sweeter that it came this late.
Onyeka was lifted to the starting role at corner after an injury to Adrian Green. Head coach Dave Dickinson says Onyeka's been impressive, and he's very smart.
He's kind of like a Cornish type to me, that he likes to know the why. Why are we doing this? And then he takes it to the field, and he's getting an opportunity. It's year 7. He probably, I don't know how many career starts he has, but we've probably topped his career starts in 1 year, and he is improving. But his special teams and his physicality, I think, is what sets him apart. And like you said, his attitude. He's got a great attitude.
Onyeka's been on the other side of the Battle of Alberta with the Elks. He says he's looking forward to putting on the black jersey on Monday and is excited about how the team is playing going into it.
I've done it on the other side. It was pretty cool, but I feel like this, with the team we have this year, the atmosphere we have going, just everything going into this game, I feel like I have a really good feeling about the game.
Kickoff for the Labor Day Classic a little after 4 o'clock at McMahon Stadium on Monday. Well, 2 of the biggest rivals in the Canadian Premier League hook up this weekend at ATCO Field. Of course, we're talking Cavalry and Forge. 2 teams will face each other at ATCO Field for the first time since Cavalry won the championship last season. This year, they faced each other twice, but both of those games were in Hamilton. Cavalry knows it's going to be a tough game. It always is when they face Forge, but they're hoping some of those good memories from the championship will carry over tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we confident at home. We knew what we did last time here against them, and we have respect, but we're confident in ourselves and take them on.
They've done terrific this season. They're unbeaten. I think it's a great opportunity to have them back here. The league schedule's been a bit weird this year, where we've played them twice at theirs, and now we got twice at ours. But look, if you're going to win anything, you have to go through them, and we're looking forward to that challenge on Saturday.
Kickoff's at 2 tomorrow afternoon at ATCO Field, so some big games this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and make sure the sunscreen, the bottle of water. Go for breaks and get the French fries, you know, where you can walk through the shade when you're watching that soccer game. I'm very food motivated, obviously, for this weekend. Ice cream's on the list. Okay, let me talk about the weekend. And as we know, it's going to be hot for the entire Labor Day long weekend. But tomorrow, even for the next hour or so, we have the risk of a small thunderstorm. But later in the day tomorrow after 4 p.m., we have the risk of thunderstorm activity in the city of Calgary. Yeah, that's a pretty decent risk for later in the day tomorrow. 29 for Sunday, 29 for Monday. Back to school, a little more reasonable for the kiddies. 24 degrees. Okay, weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors. Crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, Alberta's climate. And this is the way Calgary is famous for keeping cool. So obviously I have to show you this before a long weekend. This one was sent in by Ron Jeffrey.
I'm sure everybody wanted to do that today.
Yes.
Looks so good.
Have a terrific weekend. For breaking news anytime, go to our website.